The views expressed on this program are those of the producers and individuals appearing on this program and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Sun Prairie Media Center staff, its video service providers, or the staff and elected officials of the City of Sun Prairie.
Hello and welcome to Real Reviews. I'm Mara Trusty, and today we are joined by our good friend, Executive Director of the Sun Prairie Media Center, Jeff Robbins.
Mara, may I say that it is such a pleasure to, for a change, do this show alongside somebody who has real intelligence and wit and some actual movie knowledge. It's really quite a refreshing change from the usual fare here at Real Reviews. But actually, in all seriousness, congratulations, Mr. Rabbit. It's 500 episodes. It's quite an impressive achievement. Some of the episodes you've done have been actually entertaining. And congratulations.
Congratulations, Jameson.
Congratulations, Real Reviews for 500 episodes.
It's been a while, but they haven't worsened in quality. They just get better every time. Congratulations, Jameson.
Woo!
Hey, Jameson, congratulations on 500 episodes. Hard to believe, but you are the best at what you do. I love to watch your show, and I love to be on the show. Way to go. Congratulations. Keep it up. 500 more on the way.
Congratulations. I hope you do more.
What should I watch? I like to have a little de-stress time during my lunch break, but I just don't know what to watch. I really want to watch a movie. Gee, if I only knew somebody who knows things about movies. Oh, that's right, Jameson, that's you! 500 episodes of Real Reviews, that's amazing. How many total movies is that? We're so proud of you. You're a great volunteer here at the Media Center.
Congratulations on 500 episodes.
Congrats, Jameson. Simpsons have been on only like 100 more episodes than you, and you've been on for way less years. So, congratulations and good job being on that grind set.
Congratulations on your 500th.
Hey, Jameson. Mark Gonwa here. Congratulations on your 500th episode. That's a lot of buttered popcorn, a lot of Raisinets, and more importantly, a lot of movies that you sat through, good and bad. I have always respected your ability to do that show. That's quite an accomplishment. So as your friend and longtime fellow volunteer at the Sun Prairie Media Center, I'm proud of you. Congratulations on your 500th episode, and good luck in getting to 500 more.
So this is what it feels like to be a guest host on Real Reviews. To have that privilege would be something awesome. Maybe, I'm thinking that Jameson's going to have to do another 500 shows to make it 1,000, and maybe I could be one of the co-hosts for that chunk of Real Reviews. Maybe. We'll see. Anyway, the fact that Jameson got 500 shows is incredible. So Jameson, congratulations. I am in awe of your dedication to your program, and you consistently put together a very thoughtful, entertaining, and engaging program. So hats off to you.
This is Real Reviews 500th episode. Congratulations, Dad.
We are so proud of you.
Holy cow.
Wow.
Make me cry. Welcome to Real Reviews, the 500th episode. I'm Jameson Rabbit. That was a really nice, surprising tribute at the beginning. Just let me tell you, it's not going to be 500 more. That's insane. I am so happy to be joined here by my old pal Steve Sabatke to celebrate a big episode.
I don't know what to say now. Thank you so much for letting me be a part of this. It's an honor and a privilege. I really mean that. And this is such a historic occasion. I'm so glad that I'm on the show with you.
I mean, we're both wearing, sports coats.
So I think this is my first time wearing this on the show.
This is something here. Yeah, no, this is great. And I'll talk a little more at the end. Let me get my composure. Let's do what we're here to do, though. All right? Let's talk about some movies.
Are we going to do that?
Let's do it, because there's some really big movies. One of them I've been very excited for all year. Let's get into what we have on the marquee this week. Let's start off with Ridley Scott's new film, Napoleon. This tells the story of one of history's largest figures, a man who made an indelible impact on humanity in so many ways. And it's an impossibly large story to tell, one that's been attempted in the past, but this one gives us a look at about 30 years of the life of Napoleon Bonaparte. Watch him go from a young, ambitious gunnery officer, noted for his ingenious techniques, to his rise to the emperor of one of the greatest forces history has ever seen. Of course, Joaquin Phoenix stars as the titular character. Kind of begins in French history with the beheading of Marie Antoinette. France is in another time of violent upheaval. The guillotine is a point of contention and fear. And we see Napoleon prove his mettle early on in retaking a key port from the British. And later on, when asked to quell yet another French rebellion, he shows no qualms in firing on his own countrymen, especially in his quest for power and notoriety. And so we watch his reach and power grow with each and every victory through this movie. And the coup of 1799, as he used the military to overthrow the new government and place himself directly into power, ultimately being named emperor, in a scene straight out of the art from the era. But it's his lust for the widow Josephine, who in this movie is played by Vanessa Kirby. This is the larger focus of this film and of his life, it would seem, and their strange power dynamic, each of them kind of holding sway over the other one, the pain and manipulation that's in their marriage, and his rage at finding her unfaithful, his inability to do anything about it, and his obsession with her bearing an heir for him, and the rage that it causes and the doubt that it creates in him. And Joaquin Phoenix, I feel like, has spent a career building to this type of character. He's played emperors in other Ridley Scott films. I really enjoy the quiet weirdness that he brings to the role of Napoleon.
Okay. I'm going to differ with that.
Yeah? I like that. I like the Napoleon they show in here is a guy who's almost always in uniform, almost as a way to compensate for his self-doubts and stuff. But I look at who I am, look at what I'm capable of. Look at me, I'm powerful. I liked that performance in this movie. Sounds like you did not.
Well, I initially thought he was the right person to play this.
Sure.
But then after I saw the movie, I thought that this was Joaquin Phoenix playing Napoleon. To me, it was him and all his the mannerisms that we've seen from him before in other movies.
Did you see Beau is Afraid earlier this year?
No, I won't see that.
Yeah. It's very similar.
Yeah, I mean, it's just pretty much him just wearing a Napoleon costume. And I didn't really get a sense that he was Napoleon while watching this film. But the other issue I have with this is essentially a Cliff Notes version of his story.
Very much so.
I mean,
you can't tell his story in even 2.5 hours.
No, you can't. Now, I thought this would be more suited to a TV series. Now, I guess there's going to be a 4-hour director's cut.
Ridley Scott says he has a 4-hour director's cut that kind of fills in a lot of the holes in this movie.
Well, there's a lot of. I mean, this movie essentially toggles back and forth between the battles and Josephine, the battles and Josephine, and after a while, that gets kind of monotonous. I mean, don't get me wrong, Ridley Scott is the master for filming these
historical
battle
epic
scenes.
battles, yeah.
Yeah, they're fantastic. They're huge. But there's so much more about this man's story that is not being shown, unfortunately, in this movie.
Yeah, I had some issues with there were time jumps in it sometimes where I'm trying to figure out where are we now? Vanessa Josephine's hair looks very different. How long has this been? There's also a lot of.
But Phoenix doesn't even age.
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Is he plays Joaquin Phoenix from the very beginning to the end of Bonaparte's life looks exactly the same.
Yes.
And then you have characters, children, friends, advisors that come and go, and they just disappear from the movie. They're mentioned like, oh, here's this kid, and here's this kid, and here's this advisor who's very important to him on his come up, and then he just disappears. He's not even talked about, and you're like, well, what happened to that guy? What happened to this storyline?
Yeah, I mean, the supporting cast pretty much is overwhelmingly dominated or overshadowed by these two characters. Mm-hmm. I didn't know anybody in the cast other than Rupert Everett, who plays the Duke of Wellington. Ooh. And had I not known he was in the film, I probably would not have recognized him. But the supporting cast is pretty much in the background.
I did like that the French accents were dispatched And we went with the classic Hollywood. Go with the British accent. Play that for French. Like,
That's what
okay,
they
that's
did.
classic Hollywood trope there.
Yeah.
I wanted this movie to be great.
I did too.
I felt like I got really good. I came away with it going, there's some really good in here. There's a lot. I'm really hoping that 4-hour director's cut, if we get that on Apple TV, that fills in a lot of the connective tissue that I'm really missing in this movie that is just battle and trauma at home. I'm hoping there's a lot of that comes in there. But, I mean, Ridley Scott is really great. He shows us, he choreographs battles. Like, there's a battle in Egypt in front of the pyramids that I've never seen anything like that before.
No, I haven't either.
Wow, that was really cool.
They're spectacular. They really are.
Yeah. Yeah, I was hoping for much more, though. But what did you end up giving Napoleon?
I mean, I gave it 3 stars, but I think it's an epic that needs more epic.
Yeah, exactly. Rarely do I call for a longer version of a movie, but this one I really hope.
This is pretty long.
It is. I hope this one lands with the longer version. But I ended up giving it 3.5 out of 5.
Okay.
Like I was coming in hoping this was going to be a 5, and was a little let down by it. But all right, let's move on to what we have next on the marquee. It's a film that you saw. I was not able to get to see. What do we have?
It is the latest from Disney, Wish, in theaters, and it's a 62nd animated feature. And it comes to us during Disney's 100th anniversary. And the story centers around Asha, played by Ariana DeBose. She is a 17-year-old who lives with her mother and grandfather and a goat named Valentino in the kingdom of Rosas, an island in the Mediterranean Sea. And the kingdom is ruled by the sorcerer Magnifico, played by Chris Pine, who sports the best hair I've seen of any Disney villain. He keeps all of the wishes of the residents in floating blue spheres in his palace, and once a month he allows one wish of his choice to be granted. I could have sworn I saw my wish to be a better golfer in one of those spheres. Now, when Magnifico refuses to grant the wish of Asha's grandfather on his 100th birthday, and Asha realizes Magnifico never intends to return the ungranted wishes to their owners, she makes her own wish on a star, and due to her surprise, a star does descend from the sky in the form of a cute little Play-Doh-like character, which Asha calls Star. And Star's magic gives the forest animals, including the goat Valentino, the ability to talk, and this prompts Asha to enlist the help of Star in trying to retrieve her family's wishes. So did I mention that this is Disney's 100th anniversary? This movie is Disney's anniversary gift to itself. It is loaded with tons of references to its other animated features. There's the opening scene that shows the cover of the storybook. Star sprinkles magic dust like Tinkerbell. Asha has 7 friends who have traits just like the 7 dwarves.
Wow.
I mean, I've read where there's more than 100 Disney Easter eggs in this movie. Yeah. And there's been some backlash about that. A lot of people have said, well, this is just a Disney commercial. But, you know, I'm willing to cut Disney some slack on this. I mean, it is their 100th anniversary. I mean, if it was done at any other time, I probably would have been the same way.
Sure.
I like Ariana DeBose for anything she does. Ever since I saw her in West Side Story, I thought Chris Pine made a great villain, and he's also a pretty decent singer, which I didn't know. The songs, with the exception of one song, fairly forgettable. The talking goat, played by Alan Tudyk, has some funny lines. And I like the story, and one thing I liked, the villain has a wife. The king has a wife who veers towards the side of good and not evil. And to me, that was something I hadn't seen before. So I actually liked this movie.
Sounds like it.
Which was a surprise to me, because I'm usually the grumpy old guy who doesn't like the animated features.
Yeah. What'd you end up giving Wish?
I gave it 3.5 stars.
That's good.
Happy anniversary, Walt Disney.
there you go. We're all celebrating.
It's my gift to you.
All right. I have one. I have a movie that's, it sounds very similar to the movie you just.
Yeah.
It is Saltburn, the new film from director Emerald Fennell. Stars Barry Key. I can never remember how to say his name.
Keoghan?
Keoghan? He stars as Oliver Quick. He's a new student at the prestigious School of Oxford, but he's unlike most of the very affluent students there. He's there on scholarship, not funded by with everything he needs by his family. He's ambitious, he's smart, maybe a bit too smart to fit in. He has one friend, quote unquote, who's another guy who doesn't fit in, and I wouldn't even call him a friend, but someone who will just talk to him that he seems to tolerate because he doesn't have anyone else. But he has a brief interaction with the it guy at Oxford, Felix Catton, played by Jacob Elordi. Felix has the looks of a GQ model, wealth, friends, everything.
Elvis.
He was Elvis very recently. And right away it seems Oliver is smitten, maybe mesmerized by this guy. He suddenly finds himself thrust into this new world when Felix invites him to join the popular kids at the bar, and Oliver never really looks back at his old friend, and he's intoxicated by this newfound life. There's one friend in the group, Farley, who outwardly doesn't like this new interloper, though. Farley, he's hard on him, and he reminds him that he doesn't belong. And so Oliver begins to change, to emulate Felix, become obsessed with him, and kind of opens up to him. And over summer break, Felix invites him to come stay at the family estate of Saltburn. It is a proper English manor, I think, a sprawling old estate replete with the hedge labyrinth that, all big manors have to have, inhabited by his mother Elspeth, who is played by Rosamund Pike, who has so many issues and lacks of boundaries and hates ugliness, and his father, Sir James, played by Richard E. Grant, who seems to always kind of be preoccupied. He also has his sister and good old Farley, and a friend of the family who is titled Poor Dear Pamela, played by Carey Mulligan, who is a friend of the family the parents take pity on. And that's when we start to see this dynamic shift, this family that dresses in black tie for dinner. Things are very strict and very formal and very strange in how they treat and talk about people. And about midway into this movie, this takes a turn into real Creepyville, and not like eerie
That's putting
creepy,
it mildly.
but very uneasy, changing in tone, especially as Oliver's character changes and becomes manipulative and creepy. And boy, this movie, it turns a corner really quick.
Oh, yeah.
And for me, I wasn't there for it. I did not go around that corner with this movie.
Well, I mean, did you feel uncomfortable at all watching this movie?
Yes! There's a bathtub scene right away. Then I'm like, okay.
I mean,
I don't know
I
if
felt
I'm in.
uncomfortable at least 3 times while watching this, and you probably know which times
Yes,
I'm
I
talking
do.
about, and we can't talk about them on the show. I mean, I was kind of hunching down in my chair going, does anybody see me at this? I mean, the director is Emerald Fennell, who, this is her second stab at this.
Yes.
She did Promising Young Woman from a couple of years ago.
was great.
Great movie. There's a lot of shock value to that. That's what she does. And for me, the shock value in that film was fine because it had a point. You knew the reasons as to why the lead character in that film did the things
Yes, there
that
were
she did.
motivations I got.
Right. I'm not sure what the point of the shock value is in this film. Now, I've thought about this movie a lot, and maybe it's just me being stupid. I still don't understand why Oliver, the Barry Keoghan character, did the things he did.
Yeah, this movie's
And I
hung
know
in my
we
head
can't
too.
really
I don't want.
talk
Yeah,
about
I
them.
wish I could get into it. But
Yeah.
I just, I love strange films, and this one's filled with some of my favorite actors, people I really love. But somewhere in here, this movie lost me, and it lost me in a way that I was no longer participating in the madness. And that surprised me, actually, because I kind of pride myself on going into the madness in some of these films. And it just didn't work. I love Richard E. Grant as the dad. I thought he was hilarious. I think Jacob Elordi has a real presence to him. And the way he towers over Barry Keoghan, kind of forcing him to look up at him, I thought that really worked. Kind of similar to how he was portrayed as Elvis. He's a 6'7" guy. And so you have this weird dynamic between these characters of Felix and Oliver, and I liked him, but yeah, about 2/3 of the way through the movie, I felt myself just like checking out. I'm taking notes, but really, it lost me.
Yeah, I mean, I wish there would have been a little bit more backstory to that character, to Oliver's character, because you really don't know much about his past.
Right. It's just hinted at, and we see one reveal, one scene that kind of reveals some truths.
But the story I thought was pretty predictable. You know that something's not right. You know that something is not, that's less than positive is going to happen. I mean, there's music in the film that pretty much telegraphs that.
Yes.
There's not a lot of surprises. And Emerald Fennell went to Oxford.
Okay.
And she, from what I read, her dad was this elite jeweler, and she was one of the cool kids at Oxford.
Your life
so
story?
I don't know if she's making fun of herself.
That's
and
interesting.
when she went there.
Yeah.
I thought Carey Mulligan was wasted.
Yes, I love her. I was so excited when she showed up, and then she was kind of quickly dispatched.
But you're right. Richard Grant, Rosamund Pike as the parents.
Yeah, great.
They're very funny in this. But to me, there's a much better movie of this, and it's called The Talented Mr. Ripley.
I was just about to say that.
I'm sorry, did I
steal
that?
No, you're absolutely. I was going to say, I saw The Talented Mr. Ripley. Yes, you're absolutely right. What did you end up giving Saltburn?
I gave it 2.5 stars. You know, it looks great, but the salt needed more substance.
Yeah, amen.
It's really weird.
The seasoning was off for me as well. I found myself giving this movie a 2-star rating.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah, it didn't work for me, and it surprised me. I thought I was going to love it. But
you wish it would have been better.
I do wish. Speaking of wishes, let's get into another movie about some people. This seems to be your thing this week, grant wishes.
I guess, yeah. So this is the streaming choice. It's called Genie. It's on Peacock. So what do you get when you cross Melissa McCarthy with a Hallmark Christmas movie? You get Genie, starring McCarthy as Flora, a genie who's released from an old box owned by Bernard, played by Papa Essidou,
yeah, sure.
Is that right?
Good enough.
How Bernard became to be the owner of that box? It's not explained. It's not important.
It's on the shelf.
I mean, he's a husband and a father. He's never around for his wife and daughter, even on his daughter's birthday, because of his job at his boss, Flaxman, played by Alan Cumming, who's shown at the beginning of the film and pretty much is never seen from again until a short time later on in the end. After quickly accepting that Flora is the real thing who is giving Bernard unlimited wishes, she agrees to help Bernard win his wife and daughter back after they leave him during the holidays.
Yeah,
and
he's a terrible father and husband.
Yeah, and one of the wishes that he gets is a complete redo of his apartment, and it's complete, and the wife barely bats an eye at it. This movie's being marketed as coming from the writer of Love Actually and Notting Hill. I'm going to tell you right now, folks, this is not even close to that movie. This is also a remake of a 1991 British TV film called Bernard and the Genie, which was also written by the same writer.
All right.
And Bernard in the 1991 film was played by Alan Cumming.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right.
You know, I'm not a big fan of Melissa McCarthy in comedy roles, and that probably comes from my wife watching reruns of Mike and Molly over and over again. This performance is not completely over the top like she sometimes can tend to be.
Yeah, it was kind of reined in, but I found that it was humorless and heartless. And
it is.
I didn't care about Bernie because I didn't like him from the start. I'm like, you're a terrible dad. You're a terrible husband. And he's selfish and unlikable. And I kind of secretly didn't want him to get it all in the end because he didn't have to work for any of it. He's just making wishes.
That's true.
And you didn't work to get your family back or anything. You're just like, the genie can take care of it all. And I'm like, no, you're a lazy person.
You're not supposed to think that, though, when you're watching
I know,
that.
but that's all I'm thinking is like, this guy's not doing anything. He's just having this genie who shows up with a dagger do all the work for him, and then he reaps the spoils. I don't like that.
Yeah, and there's a subplot involving the Mona Lisa that is completely unnecessary.
Yeah.
Best part of the movie, Mark Maron, the comedian.
Yeah, he's great.
He plays the doorman, and he was funny, but this is a really flat and dull
I love when he thinks
film.
they're going to win the lottery. Hey, can I get my beak wet on some of that?
Yeah.
Mark
He's the
Maron's
best
funny.
part.
He is, absolutely. Yeah, I was rough. I watched this with my wife. She doesn't like Melissa McCarthy, and she loathes Alan Cumming, so she was really excited to watch this with me.
Really?
Yeah, she hates
Wow.
Since we were
What
dating.
did Alan Cumming ever do?
I think it goes back to Romy and Michelle's high school reunion.
Okay. Was he in that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's the
All
genesis
right.
of it. But,
All right.
all right. What did you end up giving Genie, sir?
2 stars. I mean, she deserves a much better comedy, Melissa McCarthy. This is not going to be a Christmas classic.
No.
By any stretch of the imagination.
No. Yeah, I gave it 1.5 stars. This is
wow.
not in the rotation. No thanks. I'm out. I didn't enjoy it. I didn't like it. I didn't like the lead character. So that's all the movies we have for this week. But we still have some time. And at the top of the show, all those fine people surprised me. I knew nothing about this.
I didn't either.
Series of tributes. That was really nice. And I just want to think. 500 episodes. This has been a lot of fun. The thing I'm most proud of with this is we have never missed a week. It's 500 weeks in a row of this show happening.
And that's over the course of about 10 years.
Almost 10
right?
years. Our 10-year anniversary is coming up soon. I've missed, I think, 5 of those shows.
That's it?
I think so, 5 or 6 maybe.
Wow.
Yeah, and I want to thank everyone who has really helped make this possible. Jeff Robbins, who brought me in when he first started here and said, "Hey, do you want to do a movie show? You'd heard I talked about movies."
Okay.
He got this thing off the ground. Mike Roth, who was my co-host for the first 350 or so episodes. Mike was here with me the whole time. He had to step away. We've had him on a few times since, but I wouldn't have made it the first 7 years without Mike here with me. The people who have put the show on, we have people in the booth who put this show on. Started off with Chris McCafferty, who was our first director. He was great. My son Logan stepped in for a couple years, directed the show. Shyla did it a couple years. I've had 19 people who have co-hosted this show with me.
Okay.
You, I believe, had the second most appearances outside of Mike.
Wow.
When he left, you kind of have become the heavy rotation co-host, which I really enjoy you doing. And most of all, there's 2 ladies who have been really integral in this. First one is my beautiful wife, Sarah, who's been on the show several times, who has allowed me to do this for 500 straight weeks. And when I say, I got to go see a movie, I got to watch this, she puts up with me, sometimes with a glint in her eye at me. And Mara Trusty. Mara Trusty is like the driving force of this program. You saw her at the top of the show with Jeff Robbins. She has been the one who really does all the production work, does everything with this show. I would have nothing. I'd be sitting here in a folding chair with a table talking about movies if it wasn't for Mara. And so I love it. I think Colin in the video said, I wonder how many movies that is. It's roughly 2,000 movies that we've reviewed on this show, give or take. But it's usually about 4 a week, sometimes 5 a week.
I think people may not realize the commitment that you make every week to do that. And that's a lot of time.
And sometimes they're not great. Sometimes all of them are not great. It's tough.
Yeah.
But over the 500 episodes, we've seen the industry change of movies. When we started talking about movies back in 2014, there wasn't a lot of streaming options.
What was the first movie you reviewed?
Brick Mansions. It was a parkour movie. It was not great.
Brick Mansions.
Yeah, it was a parkour movie, and then that was in the April of 2014. Yeah, it was rough. The first couple of weeks were not great movies, and we weren't sponsored by Marcus. We were paying for these things. Marcus, by the way, I love it. They have been a huge part of this, but this is it's a milestone that I never expected, especially after Mike left the show. It left me wondering if I should continue going on, and kind of was encouraged by people to keep doing it. And you, Dan Presser, I'm not going to start naming everyone who is ably filled in, and they've rejuvenated me and has me kind of thinking about where this goes in the future. And I'm just happy to celebrate this. I'm glad you were here to celebrate with me.
Well, I absolutely love being on this show, and even watching the bad stuff. It's great, and I really thank you for letting me be a part of this. And hey, congratulations. This really is a great milestone, a great achievement.
We're going to go have some cake after this. But before we do, let's take a look at what is coming soon, the weekend of December 8th. I have a few movies. First one is Poor Things, the new Yorgos Lanthimos film starring Emma Stone as a young woman brought back to life by an unorthodox scientist played by Willem Dafoe, and who then begins to find a new life of purpose and adventure. This looks great. We also have The Boy and the Heron, a new Miyazaki film about a boy named Mahito who finds himself in a realm between living and dead, unveiling a new beginning on life in what I'm sure is a gorgeous fantasy. And then Eileen, a new film from William Oldroyd. This is about a woman who befriends a coworker at the prison they both work at, and unfortunately, it leads to scary consequences. This stars Thomasin McKenzie. That's all the films of December 18th. We want to thank our sponsor, of course, Marcus Theater, as I just mentioned you. Thank you for sponsoring this program. We do appreciate that. And next week, I'm going to be joined by Zenon Schmitz once again to talk about Godzilla -1, Silent Night, May, December, and a really fun Christmas throwback. So make sure you tune in for all that. Once again, sir, thank you.
Thank you, and congratulations.
Thanks. Until next week, I'm Jameson.
And I'm Steve.
Let's do 500 more.